Bore da, road trip, and we're having a bit of a chat, me and Gareth. I came across a video on TikTok and this professor guy was explaining where the root of the, explaining where the words, two words were derived from. Two words, first one was vagina, and he was explaining that it came from the Roman word for, or they would explain, a sheath where I put my sword in. That's the word that would give for the sheath. And so obviously they objectified women and gave that name to a lady's parts and called it vagina, a sheath where I put my sword in, if you get my meaning. And he was saying then, paradoxically, the word that starts with C and ends with T, and I am going to say it now, cunt, derives from the Anglo-Saxon word, and that word is a word that comes from kindred, kingship, kind, and the meaning that it's a open wound, a wound of, or a wound of wisdom. And I thought this was really interesting that the word cunt now is, and he was explaining too, that it's a socially unacceptable, a rude word, and it's quite interesting that it was used, you know, politely and in okay words to use before the 15th century, but after Shakespearean time it fell out of favour, and obviously the word vagina became more acceptable, which is quite sad because that's the word that all doctors and medical people, and it's an acceptable word, and yet the derision of that word is quite, you know, not a nice word really to describe a lady's anatomical parts. And I thought that's really interesting that the older word, the Anglo-Saxon word, has fallen out of favour. And yet, we live in North Wales, and nearby us, Carnarvon, I've worked there, very nice people to work with. People from Carnarvon will refer to each other in a very kind type of way, you know, pals, friends. They will refer to themselves and to each other, instead of saying, are you alright pal, are you okay mate, they'll say, ti'n iawn cwnt. And that is a word and a form of friendship, a form of companionship when they, you know, talk to each other. And I was wondering if anybody else would know if there's any sort of knowledge, maybe the people from Carnarvon have kept this from the olden times and still understood the meaning of the word, the real meaning of the word. And if anybody can come back to us, I think it's really interesting because I love stuff